Everyone to our session today about study in Germany and Europe with scholarships. We'll have a nice presentation for you from our wonderful tools, the Assisted mobile app and its feature, Your UniFinder, that helps you find study for free places in all of Europe. I will have a special information session on how to get scholarships and where to find scholarships in the middle of my presentation. And at the end, I'll introduce the Assisted mobile app to you in general. So I'll take approximately 30 minutes for that, and then we'll have enough time, I hope, for all of your questions. If they are very detailed, we might transfer you to our back-end team to answer them later. But you can already prepare them, of course, while I'm talking, while I'm holding my presentation. I'm not going to answer any questions in the chat. But after, as I said, we all have lots of possibilities to answer questions. Okay, let me start first of all with who I am. I am Gesa Hein, and I hold an MSc in Higher Education and Science Management. I'm specialized in the German and European higher education sector since over 15 years. I'm a senior expert in the YUF team and based in sunny Berlin, Germany. And I'm very, very happy to talk to you today. So my first task is, of course, to convince you why it is a good idea to study in Europe, in countries like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the small countries of Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, and more. It's a good idea to study. Why? Because unlike other European countries, these countries do not distinguish between local and international students when it comes to education and tuition fees. Countries like Germany, Switzerland, Austria, but also Italy offer scholarships to students based on their financial background as well as their educational acumen. There are hundreds of different types of scholarships available with most institutions. So let's move to Germany first. We have low or no tuition fees, neither for domestic nor for international students, and hundreds of top-ranked universities. There are quite affordable living costs in Germany and lots of study programs, especially on the master's level, taught in English. There are also great job opportunities for international students and graduates. We are really waiting for you. There are high chances of settling after completing your education here, and you can get internationally recognized degrees in case you want to return to your home country or to go to another country. From here, it's an ideal point of start for travels to all of Europe on a student visa, and you can become part of a diverse community here. Oh, sorry, that was a bit too far. Let's go to Austria and Switzerland first before I go to how you get there. In Austria, they have highly specialized study programs in English language, which are offered to international students. The quality of life is high in Austria with a high level of social security, and universities promote student participations in sports and recreational activities. It is known to be one of the most livable countries in Europe and quite an affordable study destination. Switzerland is known as one of the safest countries in the world. It offers excellent study programs at affordable costs to international students. Sharing its borders with 5 other countries, it is really a traveler's paradise, in summer and in winter, by the way. Swiss scientists are held in high demand all over the world, and the country has a penchant for efficiency, which is well reflected in its transportation and all public access systems. The geography of the country is as diverse as the people. They have 4 official national languages. One thing I must say is that Switzerland is a lot more expensive concerning the living costs, the daily living expenses, than Austria and Germany. University tuition is for free. You don't pay for your tuition fees, but to live in Switzerland can be a financial challenge. And there are many challenges faced, as we know, that students face when they decide or start thinking about studying abroad. Like, how can I find the right program for me? And when and how do I submit my applications? What are the documents that are required, and where do I get all of these attestations done? What are the next steps to take before I can start to study abroad? And what kind of questions will I, for example, be asked in the visa interview? The good news is that we can assist you. Who we are? We are a professional recruitment and higher education consulting team with years of experience in recruitment for the European and worldwide higher education sector. We have experience not just in recruitments, but also in visa processing, accommodation assistance, and scholarships. Committed to providing you assistance from start to end in every aspect of your university admission, we help you with the application submission, with the coordination of the process with the university, visa support, accommodation questions, projects during your studies, and a lot of other aspects if you like. In order to be able to do this, we develop what we call the perfect triangle: predict, support, succeed. So we predict the admission probability with our unique artificial intelligence-based app Assisted, relying on data from previously admitted students and 500 plus universities. We support and give personal guidance by our expert team through the jungle of application to universities that offer scholarships and free education. Succeed and enroll in one of Europe's excellent academic environments and benefit from the high-quality higher education with accredited world-class universities, top-quality living conditions, and very positive prospects for your future career and life. Now I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about how this works. And now listen carefully, because the prediction part is actually the most important part. We take information from past data in our vast database and compare your academic profile, the profile that you type in, truthful, professional, and everything, and compare it with the variables to find a match which helps us predict your admission chances with ease. YUF structures the available information for you in clear lists where you can easily get an overview, compare, mark, and manage your favorite options, and directly ask us to assist you with your application. In a second step, we suggest options to you with a high individual chance of admission to a university that exactly matches your profile. No other platform or agency is able to offer this service to you. And it's very important to understand that if you want to go to tuition fee-free universities, study spots are relatively scarce. This is why the decisive process is the admission, which, for example, in UK universities is not so very difficult. So this is the difference, and this is where we would like to support you. Our AI-powered system ensures that you find the probability of admission to your chosen universities with minimum effort. You get access to our panel of assisted experts who provide end-to-end support for all your application activities. You don't miss out on important deadlines, information, or know-how relevant to the admission process. Succeed, everybody wants to have success. You get admission to one of your top choice universities in one of the countries mentioned. You get assistance on visa support activities, like visa submission documents, interview questions, and the like. A good preparation. We assist you in getting all the information you need on accommodation facilities in your host country. And it doesn't stop there. We even help you find quality project and internship opportunities with top institutions and companies in Europe, because we are connected exclusively to a very great European internship and traineeship portal. And I'm going to talk more about that in a few minutes, I think. If you like, you can become part of our network once you're admitted, and you consult fellow students about your keys to success. You keep in touch with us and become part of our community. That sounds good, doesn't it? Okay, so I'll wrap up this very process for you, because it's very decisive for you to understand this process if we want to talk about scholarships as a next step. So if you download the Assisted mobile app and decide for the YUF feature, the Your Unifinder feature, you choose your country and you choose your courses. And then we can predict together or in conjunction with your academic data, with your previous achievements, the admission probability to the university of your choice. Then you can make the decision to apply by your own, on your own, to go through this jungle and to keep the deadlines and the quality of the documents yourself, or we can help you with the application and help you to seek admission and to get admission at one of these chosen universities. Then again, it's completely optional to opt in for our visa service, for our accommodation service, and last but not least, to our student network. So I think this is great. And it's even greater if you know how to get scholarships in addition to that. Let me have a bit of coffee. And then start with the scholarship section. So that depending on the criteria applicable European universities, are known to offer scholarships that include not just the tuition fees. This was the part I was talking about before, but sometimes even accommodation and other expenses. Some of the most commonly seen scholarships include starter scholarships. So that's just, for example, for the first half year. Academic scholarship based on academic merits. Public funding can be the sources, governmental scholarships, scholarships that cover only the living expenses or the accommodation, social grants, fee waivers, Erasmus scholarships if you want to move from one university to another within Europe to do a so-called student exchange, that would be Erasmus scholarships. And there are, of course, other options. If we move to Germany, I must say that it's quite hard to rely only on scholarships, but they can certainly add a great amount of money in your budget to cover your living expenses while studying in Germany. And since there's a variety of them, it's highly suggested that you go and apply for one. The Deutschlandstipendium, for example, is a scholarship that is given by the university to gifted students, but sometimes also according to certain social criteria, just as a 300 euro partial scholarship per month. There are DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, particularly for international students, is very interested. And there are privately funded scholarships. And we have a huge bunch of talent promoting foundations that award scholarships to international students. They are all affiliated to political parties, but don't worry, this is no real problem. It is still absolutely neutral to apply to them, and you don't have to become part of the political party or member. So there's Friedrich Ebert Foundation, Heinrich Böll, and Hans Böckler Foundation Scholarship for children of parents who come from working classes. Additionally, some universities share a lot of scholarships to international students to help them and boost their attractiveness. The German Academic Exchange Service, a very huge organization, its mission is to promote the internationalization of German universities by creating countless funding and counseling opportunities for inbound and outbound talent students in Germany. Since they came into existence in 1925, millions of foreign students have benefited from the DAAD services. For example, in 2016, which was a particularly good year for the DAAD, over 130,000 German and foreign scholars were funded in their education with the help of DAAD grants. So look out for available scholarships. It always depends what you study and where you come from and where exactly you want to go to in Germany. But I'll say a few words about that later. So also France has become a very popular study destination for international students. Study and living costs, because most of the universities in France do charge tuition fees, is not always very affordable. Although annual tuition fees at public universities is low at 200 to 600, it can rise as high as 10,000 in private universities. Living costs are around 10,000 euros a year, which is more or less the same in Germany. Fortunately, there are a number of French scholarships for international students that are being offered, like the Eiffel Excellence Scholarships, the École Normale Supérieure International Selections. These are two very, very competitive options, or the Ampère Scholarships of Excellence at the ENS de Lyon. But there are also other less elitist scholarships. Then we move to Sweden, because I thought it would be interesting to give you an overview of which scholarships possibilities are. There are scholarships provided by the Swedish Institute dedicated to international students applying to master's degree programs. Scholarships offered through the WISPI program, the partnership between EU and Eastern countries. They focus on subject areas related to sustainability, innovation, and corporate social responsibility. And often individual universities offer scholarships that might be country-specific, offered to international students from certain countries. So also if you consider going to Sweden, it is always worth to take a second view if you're maybe eligible to one of the scholarships. The same as in Finland, Sweden's neighboring country. There are Finnish government and EU scholarships for international students, but also individual universities, like for example, Aalto University or the University of Helsinki, which are the two biggest, I guess, universities in Finland, offer scholarships to international students. If you want to go more further north, to the maybe not so internationally known country of Iceland, which also has an excellent university and excellent study possibilities. You have governmental scholarship, Iceland University scholarships, the University of Reykjavik scholarships, and Nordplus programs where you can move within Nordic university alliances. So also this is a good spot to study. I think living expenses are quite high, but because it's a small country and a lot of scholarship offers, I think the chances of getting a scholarship are relatively high. There are also scholarships in Austria, which is doubly interesting because you already know that the Austrians do not charge tuition fees. And then there are Austria scholarships for international students for short-term research, but also for a lot of majors. The list you can find here, like health sciences, medical sciences, and so on. And there are Government of Austria scholarships in 2022. It's also, I think, possibilities to get to know the countries, do very short level studies, and so on. So a variety of different possibilities. And of course, in Switzerland, the governmental institutions, but also the economy there's a lot of money and a lot of budget. So there are excellent scholarships for foreign students from the government and from certain universities, which is ETH Excellence Scholarships. I mean, who wouldn't go to study at the famous ETH Zurich? The Université de Lausanne Master's Grants for foreign students, but also for the École Polytechnique à Lausanne, this is the EPFL, and from the Graduate Institute in Geneva. You see that the Swiss scholarship funding concentrates on graduate students, which is very often the case. And just to draw your attention to the tiny little country of Luxembourg, also there, the University of Luxembourg offers scholarships to international students. The Max Planck research institutions offer scholarships to PhD students. And there's a European Business University, which might be particularly interesting for you, which can also be accessed by scholarships to provide financial assistance to students. You have scholarships for students from Africa, Central South America, and Asia. So now this is my last slide concerning the scholarships in the countries. So almost every European country, you can say, regardless whether they charge tuition fees or not, offers study scholarships for international students. Often scholarships are offered by the foreign ministry or an institution agency that implements the scholarship program for the foreign ministry. Austria and Switzerland we mentioned, but of course, for example, if you look in Belgium, you have the CUF-CUD scholarships in Belgium for developing countries, and you have Czech government scholarships for developing countries, Greek government scholarships for foreign students, Hungarian government scholarships for foreign students, and in the Netherlands, you have the Holland scholarship. So we can always, well, this is maybe my next slide, help you to find the suiting scholarship to the program, to the study program that you would like to pursue this. We can help you to find it and to identify it. We can help you also to apply for the scholarship. We can't necessarily help you to get it because we are, of course, not involved into the allocation and selection procedures. Some important hints, some things that are good to know if you go to look for a scholarship. Usually, and in many programs and countries, scholarships for international students are mostly given on the master or even PhD level. In most cases, the scholarships application is a completely separate process from the application for admission to the European university. To be admitted to the university, unless it is free of tuition fees, normally does not mean that you're entitled to any kind of scholarship for the living expenses. So always two applications, one for admission at the university, one for a scholarship. And they are always to two different institutions with different deadlines, different data, different applications, different papers requested. So it's a bit complex. And it's also the other way around. To be accepted for a scholarship, for example, by the German Academic Exchange Service to do an engineering master in Germany, doesn't mean that you're automatically admitted to the university you applied to. So you have to get both the scholarship and the admission to the university. Scholarship eligibility criteria are often degree level, study subject, language abilities, the area of research, but also regional criteria. For example, there are always to Germany, there are always a lot of applicants from Iran and from Egypt. And the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, has a certain number of scholarships for students from Egypt. I don't know how many they are, maybe 200 or something like that. So it might be difficult in Egypt to get a scholarship for Germany because there are maybe 10,000 applicants. And in other countries where Germany is maybe not so popular, not so known, German's not so widely spoken, maybe, for example, Pakistan doesn't have a big tradition with exchange to Germany. So they might have, for example, 50 spots from the DAAD to come to Germany, but only 500 applicants. So the chances of students in Pakistan are higher to get a scholarship than those in Egypt. Just for you to know in the background if you decide strategically where to apply. And timeliness is very important. Timeliness is so important because once you miss the deadline for the university admission or for the scholarship foundation, it's mostly over. And you have to wait half a year or maybe even 1 year. Apply early, submit a complete application, and be well prepared for the selection interview are the last hints that I would like to give you concerning the scholarships. And of course, as I said, if you have more questions about that, or if you have any questions about that, we'll have plenty of time to talk about them once I finish my third section, which I'm going to start in a second after another little sip of coffee. So I hope you all downloaded the Assisted Mobile app. If you didn't yet do so, the tech team is going to be so kind and put a link in the chat and other instructions how to do that. If you don't manage to download it now because you have an iPhone that doesn't correspond with the app or whatever technical problem, it's no problem. We also offer our services via our website, and you can contact the team directly after the session with any questions that I might not be able to answer. So, Assisted, we aim at being the world's #1 mobile app for international higher education in Europe. And again, another triangle. We aim to connect students, experts, and universities. Students that are looking to study overseas for the higher education can choose the app for searching and applying to top universities, getting virtual counseling, participating in discussion forums, get information and support for visa processing. And then our educational experts can get access to an active student community and guide them online. And educators can register their universities and promote their study programs to a diversified student body. The process flow is quite easy. You just download the app, which is available for iOS and Android. It can be downloaded from the App Store or Google Play Store. You create your profile, which is the key point in this process. And of course, don't exaggerate with your profile. Please just provide us with the data that you really have, because we use this data, your academic qualifications, in order to see to which free of charge, tuition fee free universities you qualify. Then you can search through the wide range of programs and university options You can join virtual events, read up on news articles, and search for good housing options. And also, of course, share the app. Spread the good news with your friends. The search engine is an absolute success story, and I like it very much. You can get the details of the study programs, the intake periods, and so on, and compare all of them. You can filter your search based on country, study programs, tuition fees, and more. And as I mentioned, the compare feature is maybe the most important one, because if you ever try to compare, I don't know, Dutch, Swiss and Italian universities, you'll find, okay, they all have national higher education systems, websites, and so on. It's relatively easy to find a website to compare Swiss universities, but not supranational. So you can use easily our search engine to do so. And the university information will always be up to date, structured, and very complete, and which is important, in the same layout. Otherwise, if you go your own way and look at every university's website that you're interested in, every website will be different. Everywhere you'll find the information somewhere else. It's really quite a hassle and quite nasty to look for exact information at a special university, especially if you need to check more than, let's say, 5 websites or 5 universities. As we said, you can attend events and become part of our community, search for housing options, and with Assisted, you get to explore the Europe's #1 internship portal, Praxis, with exposure to an international work environment, opportunity to build a global profile and career, and much more. These are projects that you could do after enrolling in the university in Europe. And very often you have technical, or let's say trainee periods, or the possibility to do a traineeship, and via our internship portal Practice, which is connected to the Assisted mobile app, you can also find opportunities there. Chats and fora, and of course also you can find an agent near you. If this is something you would like to do, you would like to personally sit with a higher education expert, then we can also provide that, because we are all connected in the back end. But with the drastic increase in online services, it's now essential, as we believe, to have virtual options for communication in higher education. With the Assisted Expert feature, you get the opportunity to connect with an international education expert with years of experience and knowledge in the European higher education sector, who can guide you in each and every aspect of your European university admission process. Sorry, I lost my way. About scholarships, just very shortly, I talked a lot about scholarships. We, of course, assist you via the mobile app Assisted to find the match between the study program and the possible scholarships that you could apply to. We have also an accommodation service. So with the Assisted mobile app, we eliminate the need for you to browse for hours, and instead we bring unlimited housing options at your fingertips. You can get details of the apartments with price, dimensions, contact information, pictures. If we have accommodation providers, they post their offers, and then we'll have students to seek for this housing, and we'll have experts again also to give advice to the students who look for housing, because in some big cities, for example, it is quite difficult to decide in which area you should live, what is a good student area, what is close to campus, on which campus am I actually studying, and is this accommodation close to it. And we know that this is the #1 worry of students that are international students that are admitted to a foreign university in a country where they have maybe never been, and where they don't have relatives or friends, is accommodation. It is always housing. So this is why we found it very useful to provide this service to you. Visa is, of course, a very essential question. Whether for higher education or internships, the Assisted mobile app offers services to support all your visa-related requirements from A to Z. Get all the information from visa procedures to documents, interviews, and more. Talk to our experts virtually and get step-by-step assistance. About questions like which type of visa do I need? It's not really written in my admission letter. Where can I apply? This is only consulate general. Do I have to go to the capital in my country, or the country where I want to go to doesn't have an embassy in my home country? Where can I apply? And so on. It's not always very obvious. We know that. How can I crack the visa interview? What questions are these guys going to ask me? And what are the documents needed to apply actually? And what kind of insurance do I need? There are so many questions, and it will be maybe nice and comfortable for you to have us as consultants behind you and guiding you through all of this jungling questions. Now I'm closing the circle a little bit and wrapping up the session so you can prepare your questions, because we'll be there and have time for you in a second. YUF, your UniFinder, offers an artificial intelligence-powered systems that ensures that you do not wonder about the possibilities of admission, but get a definite picture as to which specific universities, free of tuition fees, you are eligible and how you can proceed with the admission process. We predict and analyze the data of next to 500 higher education institutions to predict to which universities you are likely to be admitted with your personal qualification record. YUF supports you throughout the application process and makes sure that your application reaches the universities of your choice. With YUF, enroll in one of Europe's excellent academic environments and benefit from high-quality higher education, living conditions, and very, very positive prospects on your future career and life. That's it, folks. You find us on assist@yourapp.com, yourunifinder.com/YUF. You can download the app, type in your information, and surf a bit and find all the options that are there. It's really just at your fingertips. So we hope that this tool is useful for you and will help you to guide you to your study program in Europe. And thank you very much today for your attention and for listening to me. That's also written on the next slide. Thank you very much. So please, also, if I'm going to go back to the next slide, if you have very, very detailed questions, sometimes, they're very individual questions, and I don't know all the programs in all the countries and all the scholarships, so I might not be able to answer very detailed questions. And I would recommend you then to visit our website and to write an email to the staff there. It's our backend stuff that deals with the backend of the assisted mobile app with our emails and with everything. So welcome, and now it's time for your questions, and we have approximately, I'd say, 15 to 20 minutes for that. And please, maybe tech team, you can start the Q&A mode, right? So I think there was one student from the audience who had already questions during the session. Maybe tech team, you can take these questions first. I don't see it in the FAQ yet. I see it in the chat. Anyways, I can try to start answering that at the beginning. So Kathy's question is, what is the free? Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much. What is the free education process and guideline for Germany for international students? Kathy, very good question. Thank you very much. That is I need a very broad answer for that. Basically, you can say that Germany does not make a difference between domestic, national, and international students in most of the study programs. Like 89% or 88%, 98% of the universities in Germany are public. And for most of their study programs, unless they're executive business masters and so on, they do not charge tuition fees. So every person who has a valid university entrance exam for Germany is welcome to apply. So or if you apply for the graduate level, for the master's level, you're welcome to apply with a valid bachelor degree. There are numerous ways in order to find out whether you qualify for admission to a bachelor or a master's degree in Germany. And if you download our assisted mobile app and type in your academic profile, we can tell you easily whether you were eligible for direct access to the German higher education system. And then you apply and you get admission, and then that's it. It depends a bit on the subject where you apply to. Medicine is, of course, almost impossible because so many people apply there. But if you want to study engineering, any sciences or other subjects, it's mostly possible to find a study place if you're a bit flexible concerning the city where you would like to go to. Psychology is also a problem. So in some subject areas, it's very difficult to get access to higher education institutions, but in most, it's quite feasible. Okay, and I think you have the next one. Yeah. Can a student from India do bachelor in Germany, or could he do bachelor 1 year in any Schengen country and transfer to a German university from second year onwards? Okay. Can you just give the basic insight about that? Yes, these are actually two questions. No, it's about the access to other bachelor programs in Schengen countries, which have their own admission criteria and admission procedures. So that aspect is a very general one, but let's say, for example, you get admission to a bachelor program in Belgium or in the Netherlands, where as international student, you have to pay tuition fees. And then you want to transfer in the second year to a bachelor program in Germany. Then what would happen is you would not get into the automatic admission procedures, but you would go for a higher education admission to a higher semester. And then what normally happens is that there are special application periods and special application portals for those who already have studied 1 year in Europe, because they get a different assessment than those who come, for example, directly from India. So depending a bit on the subject and on the language of instruction also, and on your language abilities, there are ways to transfer from one Schengen country to the next one. It's not very unbureaucratic. It can be quite challenging, I guess, but it's possible. Okay, well, the scholarship can be applied from home country of the student, or he has to be in a study country to apply for the regional scholarship. No, for example, if you from your home country, or even from any country where you are, right? I think before it was mandatory to be in the home country because they used to have physical selection interviews, for example, at the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service. But nowadays, I think many institutions do online interviews, right? So, or no interviews at all, yeah. So if you are, for example, I mean, take India, or you take Egypt, or you take Nigeria, and you would like to apply for a scholarship to come to Germany, you apply from your home country. And what you have to do is you have to show them that you already also applied to a German university where you would like to study. Or you at least, if the application deadline is after the DAAD application deadline, you have to indicate to which universities you're going to apply. And if you are, for example, a Nigerian student who does his bachelor's study program, I'm just, making up something, in Egypt, then you would have to apply to the DAAD scholarships for Nigerian students, and you can do that while you study your BA in Egypt and apply for a scholarship in Germany. That's also no problem. And that's the case for all of the scholarship programs. You don't need to be in the country in order to apply to them, at least if you consider scholarships for international students. There are other kind of scholarships. For example, in Germany, the so-called Deutschlandstipendium, they depend on an enrollment at the very university. So, for example, if you enroll at a certain university in Berlin, they might have, let's say, for example, 100 scholarships within the Deutschlandstipendium, which means Germany scholarship. So all the first years will be able, or even the first and second years will be eligible to apply. So then you have maybe in the first and second year, you have at one university 10,000 people, and out of them 1,000 apply, but the condition is to be enrolled at the university in Berlin or in Germany. I just took Berlin as an example because it's just next door to the next university, but yeah. So that was a very long answer to your question. Apart from academic scholarship, the criteria for other scholarships, like DAD private funded or Eiffel Excellence Scholarship, do these scholarships have certain requirements to apply? Yes and no. Yeah, of course, they have certain requirements to apply, and these requirements can be quite high, I think. But you won't find, I mean, you will find in the call for application all the requirements. So, for example, there are, let's say, hard requirements, formal requirements, and soft requirements. Which, like in every call for applications, also if you apply for jobs, no, there are hard criteria. Like, for example, okay, if you want to study for a master program, you have to have a bachelor degree. Soft criteria might be, or if you want to study in France in French, you'd have to have a certain language level, and they need a document, an official document testifying or certifying this language level. And there are soft criteria. These are the, let's say, the hard requirements. There are soft requirements that make you succeed in the competition, let's say, because many people might fill the formal requirements, but not everyone might be, you know, interculturally competent or knowing a lot about the host country or being able to give very good reasons why, for example, you would like to go to France or to Germany. So these are rather, yeah, it's twofold. So that's why you should always prepare a scholarship application carefully. Because, for example, if you apply to an Austrian scholarship and you're invited to a selection interview, you should know some things about Austria. You should not mix up Austrian cities with German cities because Austrians hate that. And the Austrian selection committee is going to want to feel that you really made a conscious choice to go to Austria. And not just anywhere, you know, and I don't mind. So never mind where you apply. Do look very well at who would like to, or who should give the money to you, and prepare for that. I don't say that you should tell them in selection interviews everything they want to hear. This is not what I mean. But you should show interest for the country, for the institution. That's always a good key to success, I'd say. Again, a long answer. And what is the placement assistance for international students studying in any of the Schengen countries of the European Union? So there you mean placements like internships, traineeships during your studies, right? Well, it depends on the study program. Let's begin from the master's level. Yeah, so you have in the curriculum, you have two kinds of study programs. Those who have a mandatory internship within the curriculum and those who have a voluntary optional internship within the curriculum. Those with an optional internship are normally not going to help you much with finding an internship, especially if you do not pay tuition fees for your studies. So in Austria, Switzerland, Germany, and so on, you'd have to take care of that yourself. If you want to do one, because you wouldn't need to do one. If the internship is mandatory, obligatory in your study program, then there will be a lot of advice and help and guidance how to find scholarships, but you will still be needing to apply to scholarships yourself, to internship spots yourself. But you will find professors who know where you can go, linked lists of internship offers and so on of this particular study program. But this will be in the responsibility of the individual study program coordinator. So if you go, for example, to the University of Munich, you might find that, okay, in all the engineering study programs where you maybe have a mandatory internship, the study program coordinator will know very well where you have to go, where you can do the specialization, and you can go directly to BMW or whatsoever. While if you study philosophy in Munich, the master study program coordinator might not have a clue about you doing an internship somewhere because it's not mandatory in the philosophy study program. So this is what I can say about internships, and I can also say that only if you pay tuition fees, and quite high tuition fees, for example, at the Business University of St. Gallen in Switzerland, if there is an obligatory internship, you will be provided with a spot. So the rule is, if you don't pay tuition fees, you get less service, you do more yourself, you have to be more independent and do more to find an internship. If you pay high tuition fees, the higher the tuition fees you pay, the more the university is going to help you with getting a traineeship or even provide you with a spot. This is actually the rule. And here in Germany, it's actually, the students have to do it mostly themselves. The university gives some hints and some guidance, but they do it themselves and they grow from this. It's really no problem for most of the students, at least. And all of the universities, by the way, have career services or career centers where you can find consultation, for example, how to apply in German, how to apply in English, what is the German job market about, what should I know if I think about staying in Germany or in Austria or wherever, and finding a job here. Usually every good university and University of Applied Sciences has such a career center or service and offers a lot of information there. It might not be part of your curriculum. You might have to go yourself and find this kind of information. Okay, I think I can take 2 more questions if you have some. Otherwise, I can just recommend to look out for our app, to download the app, and to get lucky and get on your way to find out there about your options. Okay, I'm going to take 2 more questions, as I said, from Ellen. Thank you very much, Ellen. What are the possibilities to get master programs in finance by holding 2 master degrees in commerce and economics without IELTS? Okay. What are the possibilities? Well, you apparently you already have 2 master's degrees. That's great. If you want to study free of tuition fees, you can use the YUF feature of the assisted mobile app and simply browse, because you can look according to certain criteria. And simply browse the options that do not require an IELTS test. You just put the filter there. Many students ask these questions. That's why you can simply filter all universities that offer admission without IELTS. The condition would be that you did at least one of your master programs or your bachelor programs in English. Otherwise, I think you'll have to have an English language exam. I mean, if you, for example, finished high school in English and then studied in French, it might sometimes also be possible. And there are definitely universities in Austria and in Germany who offer admission without IELTS tests. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, then I'd say thank you very much for listening to me. We have one more video clip before we close the session. I'm looking forward to hopefully welcoming you in Europe, to us providing you information and accompanying you on your way to Europe. All the best for that. Good luck. Thank you very much for your attention, and goodbye.